All right. Today's TueSpükie question. TueSpükie.
I do apologize, by the way. That was inappropriate and uncalled for.
Do you believe in ghosts?
And tell us
your best ghost story. Let me say that word again. Ghosts. That's a hard word to say. Fuck.
I do not. Ghosts are probably the absolute most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
Do you believe in ghosts? That sounds weird.
I don't know if I've brought this up before, but yes, absolutely. I do, in fact, believe in ghosts.
I do have a little bit of belief in them.
And because of that, I don't have any ghost stories.
Usually I'm a relatively rational human being who is very scientific-minded, but when it comes to ghosts, I'm all in on that one.
Back in high school, I was actually in a paranormal club that some kids in the school made.
And it's just because I've had a lot of weird shit happen to me throughout my life that I've yet to find any type of rational explanation for.
The problem is that me and Tim probably have the same best ghost story because we were there together when it happened.
Now, as far as the story goes, you know, I do have one. I don't necessarily know that it was like a ghost. It could have just been someone fucking with us, but it scared the shit out of me.
But me and Tim have had a share of quite a few instances that pretty much freaked the shit out of us.
This one involved me and Mr. Chad Callahan, as per usual, because I don't ever do anything by myself, ever. Yeah.
I hallucinated skeletons once because I took too much Benadryl. That was kind of funny.
Our school has this really old-time theater. You know, it looks really it's kind of Gothic-like. You would say it's kind of like church-like too.
This one is actually when I was by myself. Did tell Tim about it. It scared the piss out of me. But it is a really ghost story, and it kind of creeped me out, and it was my fault. Don't play with Ouija boards, boys and girls. Don't do it. It's a bad idea, especially by yourself.
We were at my cousin's house, and Chad was having a particularly weird weekend. We might go over that eventually at some point, but let's just say it was fucking weird.
I was doing the whole Ouija board because I had some weird dreams, and I was trying to figure out what they meant, and I was like, well, maybe someone's trying to contact me, and I was in mid-high school. I don't know what age that was.
The reason why we were investigating was because there were rumors that one of the painters that was painting the walls back way a long time ago when the school first started, they fell off the balcony and landed onto the seats below and died.
Just weird things were happening all weekend, and he decided he was going to crash early, and the rest of us decided to go swimming outside, and we were having a great time, just relaxing. Chad was upstairs sleeping in the room.
But it wasn't like skeletons. Do you remember those? They were like a funhouse thing, but you sat in a car and like drove through a track and everything. They don't really have them around anymore, but some people might remember those.
But I was doing it in my basement, candle right there in the dark with the Ouija board. It was like one of those Hasbro glow-in-the-dark ones. Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. Alright, doesn't matter if it's cheap or not. Made out of wood, made from your grandma's bones. Doesn't matter. All the same, works the same. Don't do it.
We're all just sitting outside chilling in the pool, and we are the only ones there at this time. Chad, and then us in the pool.
So we did investigation there, and believe it or not, we caught some orbs when we were there.
So I look up and I see someone standing in the window in the room that Chad was in. And, you know, I didn't think much of it. I was like, oh, look, Chad's up, woo.
So I was down there doing my thing, and it was moving, but I was having a hard time deciding whether it was moving on its own, or my hand was just kind of jittery, or like I was freaking myself out. You know, it was weird because you think you have control of your body, but I was like doubting myself. So I was like, maybe I don't have control of my body. Maybe I'm just doing this and my mind's just fucking it up.
And we had a couple EVPs too. There was an EVP of some footsteps walking on the stage.
Anyway, they had stuff in there where it was like cheap Halloween stuff, but they're all painted glow in the dark and like neon. Well, that's the kind of skeletons I'm talking about.
Until the light started flickering like crazy, and most people wouldn't think much of this except for the fact that there's a person standing in the window and the light switch is on the complete opposite side of the room. There's no way you're going to be reaching that with your arm or anything like that.
It wasn't making letters that made sense, so I gave up and I was like, whatever.
And as the light was going on and off, I did realize that no, that was not Chad standing in the window. That's a person I've never fucking seen before, ever. So I freaked the fuck out. I'm like, holy shit! Does anyone else see that? Everyone else looks up. Yep, they see it.
And we caught an EVP of footsteps walking up to the recorder and walking away.
Didn't close the portal, if you will. I don't really know any other way to phrase it, but you're supposed to close it at the end and be like, okay, bye, thanks for coming, thanks for visiting, guys, see you next time.
The hallway was dark, and I was like sitting in bed, and it kept like peeking out at me and like going back.
That night, I lived in my room was in the basement, and I was all by myself, and I was just sleeping, and then all of a sudden I wake up, and I was like in this paralyzed state where I couldn't move.
And when we looked at that, and we asked everybody if anybody was there around that time, and nobody was.
Don't know why I couldn't move, but I just remember not being able to move. And as I was laying there, I'm getting chills thinking about this again. As I was laying there, I could feel my blankets around me getting tighter.
But like I'd see it out of the corner of my eye like this, and then I'd look at it and it would go back, kind of thing. That was kind of funny.
And then I could see like the impressions of something around me. Like it was really strange. It was a really strange instance. Could have all been in my head. It was really dark. But at the same time, it felt real. I couldn't move. I was awake. I know I was for sure awake. I could feel everything, but I was paralyzed.
So I told my cousin Justin, we're standing on the outside of the pool, get the fuck in there right now. We're all starting to climb our way out of the pool. Rush upstairs, bust into the room like madmen, and Chad's fucking sleeping in the bed. No one there.
And it was right after I did the Ouija board thing by myself. Taking it with a grain of salt because, the next day, like nothing happened, but it was just a very, 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 very scary scenario.
Don't take too much Benadryl. I just, there was a little bit left in the thing. I'm like, oh, I'll just take that because my allergies were acting really bad, and it was too much.
We're just like, what the fuck is going on right now? We wake Chad up. He's like, what? What the fuck? Has no idea what's going on. Now, that shit was crazy as fuck because Chad's whole weekend to that point was just the most bizarre thing ever. And then that happens, and it's like, holy shit, what just happened?
But not nearly as scary as Tim's story, because that scared the shit out of me, still to this day, because there's a lot leading up to that.
Now, could it have just been Chad fucking with us? Sure, but I have no idea how he would have pulled off the light switch gag. At all.
Tim didn't tell you about the spider? Okay, there was a spider that bit me. Then I almost got killed by a fork. I also almost got ran over by a truck. After joking about being run over by a truck, I slipped down a hill and almost got hit by a truck. I almost walked off I guess you could call it cliff, a viaduct. And then that was the clincher near the end.
That thing was still standing there as I was rushing in the door, so he had probably maybe 5 seconds tops to take down whatever it was he was using to do this, so.
I mean, that's the closest I got to a ghost story.
That was some weird shit, and that scared the fuck out of me. I got lots more stories, but that one I feel is the most relevant to this group and that channel, considering it involves two of us, so that is definitely one of the more interesting ones I have.
I like the Paranormal Activity movies, though. Well, most of them. 4 was terrible.
So, there's a really nice lead up to Tim's story, so yeah, that's probably the best ghost story I got. Tim's is better because he stole it. He went first.
But yeah, that's the best you're gonna get out of me, because what a ridiculous concept.
Thank you for watching this video, and we appreciate that you're watching this. So please like, comment, subscribe, and
Yeah, even if you didn't like, go ahead and subscribe. That way you'll know when then you can just take a shit all over us. Like, oh hey, they posted a new video. Time to hate. That could be you.
plus we want to know from you if you believed in ghosts, and if you had any experiences. Just comment below the video and share us your story. Also, you can write down a question that we can answer for you.
Yeah, isn't there like a they can get our attention? They can like, I don't know what the like hashtag put on YouTube and that thing.
Yeah, we can. Well, not hashtag on YouTube, but we can hashtag on Twitter.
They can. Well, no. I mean, like they could reply to us, like at I don't know about but they can get our attention. Like,
yeah, they
they'd be like,
they can do that.
At
Yeah,
WitY Productions.
they can do that.
Hey, I think you should answer this question. And we're like, and then we'll see it. We'll be like, yeah, we'll answer that question.
They can they can be more like, hey, at WitY Productions, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and then maybe we might. It would be great.
We can go fuck ourselves if you want.